Look, I am not anti-RIF, right? Or reduction in force, layoffs, for those who aren't familiar with the acronym, right? I am not against that necessarily because a lot of organizations, and I've seen this in really large organizations, they get extremely bloated with people who are not adding a lot of value to the organization. But many RIFs that organizations execute fail to achieve what they actually want to achieve, which is to cut expenditure without decreasing the outcomes or the product delivery for the business, right? And the reason why they fail is because the process that most reductions in force follow is that leaders will set a cost target. They will say we want to reduce 5% of headcount spend, or we want to reduce 10% or 20%, whatever it is, right? And then they just pick people. Um, a lot of times there isn't this in-depth investigation of what actually happens. And so you end up with a mix of people who probably should have been laid off based on their value to the organization, but then a bunch of people who drive a lot of value or who have institutional knowledge that isn't easily replaced, and they're all laid off as well, right? Because there isn't the critical thinking into what people are actually doing, right? So if you want to be successful in a RIF, which honestly, I think RIFs are a natural part of the business life cycle. Organizations do get bloated. Sometimes they grow, they hire too fast. Every few years, it's natural to want to lay off a portion of the workforce that doesn't add as much value as what their salary costs, right? But if you want to be successful in doing that, you need to get into the granularity of the processes, the functions that these roles are actually serving, what they're really worth, and are they achieving the desired outcomes for that role, right? That legwork is often not done for a reduction in force. They just say, we're going to lay 10% off across the board. So every manager has to pick 10% of their headcount. And then you end up with really negative outcomes because of the institutional knowledge or the functional gaps that you end up with after that type of RIF, right? So if you want to lay people off, what you need to do the right way to reduce headcount without suffering on performance is you need to get into the granularity of the specific processes that people do, how they do their jobs, what they do in their jobs, and who has that institutional knowledge that is critical to the organization. And then you use that level of information to start to craft your plan for doing a proper RIF that will reduce expense but not negatively impact the outcomes of the business itself.